Hi there, welcome to my channel. In this video I'll be showing you how to make choux pastry, which is also known as a recipe for profiteroles or eclairs. Before I start, I just want to say a huge thank you to all the people that have subscribed to my channel. I've reached 10,000 subscribers, which has really blown me away. I'm so grateful and so happy for the support. Thank you so much. Now onto the tutorial. So this is one of my ultimate favorites. I've been using this recipe for over 15 years. It's a solid recipe that gives a light and crisp pastry which can be filled and topped to suit you. So these are my ingredients. I'm using 150 grams of all-purpose flour, 80 grams of butter, water which is 300 milliliters, and 4 eggs. I then crack my eggs into a small bowl and beat them together with a fork very lightly. In a medium-sized saucepan, I add in my water and turn the heat on to around a medium-high heat. I then add my butter to this. You can use salted or unsalted butter, but if you're using unsalted, just add a little bit of salt into your mix. This really helps bring some flavor and depth to the overall pastry. I occasionally give it a stir and bring it to a boil. You'll see that the sides are bubbling up, and that's when you're ready to add your flour. I lower the temperature down to the lowest setting and add in my flour. After I've added it, I immediately stir and mix the mixture together. This takes a few minutes, but you'll find the mixture starts to bind, creating a dough. You want to break up any lumps and just mix it really thoroughly with a wooden spoon. You'll see it gradually become thicker and denser, and the mixture should start to come away from the sides of the pan and resemble a dough. Once that happens, shut off your heat and allow it to cool. My mixture has slightly cooled, but I'm adding it into my mixing bowl, and I'm using my wooden spoon to just spread the mixture out to help it cool a little further. I then leave this to really cool for a good 15 minutes. Once it's ready, I start to add my eggs. I'm using the lowest setting possible. And this is where you have to be really careful. You want to avoid adding your eggs in too quickly or too much. I add small amounts at a time and allow it to mix thoroughly before adding any more. This does take some time, but it ensures your mixture remains thick through the process, and you want a thick batter at the end of this. If you add your eggs too quickly, it could make your mixture very liquidy. That's why I'm using an electric whisk or stand mixture. And this really helps. If you do it by hand, it's pretty tiring. Once your eggs are mixed in, you're left with a thick batter that holds its shape really well. This is how the batter should look, thick with some movement, and it holds its shape very well too. Now it's time to pipe. I like to use disposable bags and piping tips to create an extra little bit of detail. You could, however, just cut the tip off and just use it as is. I'm using a baking tray which I lined with either parchment paper, non-stick foil, or silicone baking mats, which I'm using here, and these are fantastic. I add my piping tip into the bag by just snipping off the end and popping it in. I then turn the sides over and fill the bag. You want to avoid overfilling your bag, otherwise it's harder to handle and the mixture can also leak out the top. I pipe smallish dots onto my baking tray by holding the piping bag upright at about ½ inch from the surface. I add consistent pressure to pipe small mounds. This is a small size, but you can pipe larger ones too. If you don't want to pipe at all, You can use a spoon and spoon the mixture onto your tray also. Here I'm creating some larger ones, so I'm simply adding more pressure and adding more batter into the mounds as I pipe. I'm using a piping bag with no tip, and this is another way of piping your eclairs also. Here I'm just creating some donut shaped ones too. Using water, I wet my fingertip and press down all the points on the mounds. If you leave them, they will brown too quickly in the oven and burn. This is now ready to bake. I put them in a preheated oven at 420 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes. Do not open the oven door during this time as it can disrupt the baking process. After 20 minutes, I lower the temperature to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for a further 7 minutes. And this is how they look fresh out of the oven. They've puffed up in size, pretty much double their size, and have a crisp exterior and a hollow inside. They are sort of a light golden brown, which is ideally what we want too. To release the hot air, I poke a hole with a knife or a toothpick into the pastry. This will also allow them to cool quickly. Just to show you the inside, they have a very soft and hollow interior, a really nice flavour, and it has a nice pocket space for your fillings too. The golden brown shell provides a strong exterior which holds its shape. The next step is to fill them. This is just a simple example of what I do a lot, which is where I'm whisking up some whipping cream with some vanilla flavouring and confectioner's sugar for sweetness. There are so many other options in terms of filling you can use, like custard or strawberries chopped into whipping cream, or you could even go the savoury route. Once the pastries are completely cool, I cut them in half and add my cream in. You could also make a large hole into the pastry and pipe the cream directly into the pastry with a piping bag and tip. To serve, I'm just setting them onto my plate and drizzling them with Nutella and dusting them with confectioner's sugar. This is really the simplest way to present them and serve, but you could go in a different direction and add custard filling, ganache on top, or brown butter icing. The options are really just endless. Here I'm just adding a few chocolate flowers, and there you have it. You have a perfectly great dessert ready to go. This is really one of the best recipes I have and an all-round favourite. I've tried many other recipes for choux pastry, and this one has been the best for me, and I really wanted to share it. Well, that's it for this video. Sorry it was long overdue. Please be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching.